Hi and welcome. In this video, we are going to talk about the early history of what is now Great Britain. This is not intended to be an in-depth university level lecture. It is more of a general overview to help those of you studying for the Life in the UK test. It is not intended to be a replacement for the handbook that you have for the Life in the UK test. It's more of an addition to that, in case having someone telling you about the history is easier than reading it for yourself. You should still refer to the handbook for your test. This is the 7th in a series of short videos covering different times in British history. If you missed the others, you may wish to watch those first, starting with the Stone Age. If you're ready, let's find out about life after the Norman conquest. First of all, let's look at some of the difficult words that you will hear. Legitimate means legal. It is also used to talk about children. A legitimate child is one whose parents are married. You may remember the word successor from the video about the Normans. It means the person who comes next, especially when talking about who will be the next king or queen. A reign is the amount of time a person is king or queen for. For example, Queen Elizabeth's reign was for 70 years. You may wish to pause the video now so that you can match the words to the definitions before you see the answers. And here are the answers. This is my least favourite part of history. I call it Too Many Henrys because between the death of William the Conqueror and the famous King Henry with his 6 wives, there were 7 kings called Henry. We are going to begin this talk in 1100 when the first of these King Henrys came to the throne. Henry I was the 4th and youngest son of William the Conqueror. He married Matilda, who was also known as Maud, who was also known as Edith. Are you confused yet? Yeah, me too. Matilda Maud Edith was the great-great-niece of Edward the Confessor, and so this marriage united the English and the Normans. Henry I had 2 legitimate children. His son William died in a shipwreck, and so Henry named his daughter Matilda as his successor. She never did become queen because her cousin Stephen claimed the throne ahead of her. However, on Stephen's death, Matilda's son became King Henry II. He was crowned in 1154. Henry II already controlled large parts of France, partly due to his marriage to Eleanor of Aquitaine. However, this was not enough for him, and in 1171 he invaded Ireland. Many of the Irish kings surrendered to Henry, and so he conquered a large part of the island. He gave his youngest son the title of Lord of Ireland. Luckily for us, Henry II's eldest son, who was called, you guessed it, Henry, died before his father, and so our next king was not another Henry, but a Richard. Richard I, also known as Richard the Lionheart, didn't spend much time in England. For most of his reign, he was abroad fighting in wars known as the Crusades. In 1199, he was injured in battle and died of his injuries soon afterwards. He had no legitimate children, and so the throne passed to his younger brother John. You may wish to pause the video here to answer the questions before the answers appear on screen. And here they come. As always, here is a summary of the main points. Henry I was William the Conqueror's youngest son. Henry I's grandson became King Henry II. Henry II invaded Ireland and conquered large parts of it. Richard I succeeded Henry II. Richard I was also known as Richard the Lionheart. Richard spent most of his reign outside of England fighting in the Crusades. When Richard I died, his younger brother John became king. I hope you found that useful. You may wish to listen again, but if you feel confident, look out for the next video where we'll talk about the 1200s. I look forward to welcoming you back very soon.